everyone, and welcome to Thorough Newspaper Analysis that is presented to you by LawSeco. So today we'll be discussing two major articles, and both of them are from the Indian Express. The first article is titled as In Wrong Custody, wherein we would be understanding the problems that can arise by appointing police officers in prison services. And the next article is titled as In Sanitation, Put Women in Charge, wherein we'll see the role that can be played by women in sanitation and other ancillary activities under the Swachh Bharat Mission program, and the role that this program can play in promoting the concept of gender equality. And then we have the News in Flash column, that is our very own initiative. Now, if you're also preparing for CLAT and other law entrance exams, you can definitely have a look at our Project Maverick course, which can be available at a nominal fee of ₹100. We have also come up with LawSeco CLAT test prep channel, the link to which is available in the description box below. With this, let's have a look at the MCQ question for the day. In which state is the Similipal Biosphere Reserve located? Is it Madhya Pradesh or Maharashtra or Odisha or Himachal Pradesh? The descriptive question for the day is appointment of police officers in prisons. What are the issues involved? Please suggest the steps that are needed to improve the conditions in prisons. Now, you would be able to answer these questions after having a look at the analysis for the day. With this, let's begin with our first discussion for the day. Police officers as heads of prisons. Now, why is this in news? This is in news because the Uttarakhand government has recently issued a notification to post IPS officers as superintendents of prisons. Now, what is the rationale or the logic given by the government for coming up with such a move? The logic given is it is going to help in reducing the malpractices that prevail in the correctional facilities. And this is also because of absence of sufficient pool of officers. That is, the reasons that are cited by the government would include that if we appoint IPS officers in as superintendents of prisons, then that is going to help in reducing the malpractices that prevail in the prison and correctional facilities. And this is also because we do not have a sufficient man force to choose people from, right? But there are certain issues involved behind this move of the Uttarakhand government. What are they? The very first reason that one can think of when a police officer is appointed as the in charge or supervisor of a correctional facility is that their very roles differ. Now, when we talk about police personnel, when we talk about the police force, the reason for their appointment, the reason behind or the very nature of their training helps them to detect crime and to establish and maintain law and order of a particular area, right? So this is the primary reason behind the appointment of police personnel. But when we talk about prison officers, that is who are the in charge or supervisors of correctional facilities, their primary objective is to facilitate the reformation and rehabilitation of prisoners. So you can see that there is a stark difference between the role that is supposed to be played by the police personnel and by the prison officers. So how at all can you appoint a person who has been trained as a police officer to perform the role of a prison officer? Because their very roles differ, right? And the next issue that can be deciphered from this point is that it is also in gross violation of the principles of separation of powers that are enshrined in the Constitution. Now, why do you think this point has been mentioned here? Because see, police force comes under the executive power of the government, right? So it is the executive or the executive arm of the government. But when we talk about prison officers, what happens is when a person has been taken away from the police custody and he's transferred to a correctional facility, it is said that he has been transferred from police custody to a judicial custody. So there, the executive function would terminate and the judicial function begins. So if a police officer is actually appointed as the supervisor of a correctional facility, then don't you think that it is in violation of the basic structure that involves separation of powers as an essential ingredient? So this is one of the reasons why this can be considered to be in violation of the principles of separation of powers. And see, this is what has also been stated by the author here, that police officer is not even allowed to enter a prison without a court order, because this is outside the domain of work that a police officer is expected to perform. And the only ground on which a police officer is allowed to enter is when a crime takes place inside the prison cells or inside, the correctional facilities, and the authorities have informed them, and it is only when they have obtained a court order that they would be allowed to enter a correctional service. So just see, if this is a condition that has been established for a police officer to even enter a correctional facility, then what would happen if a police officer himself would be appointed as the in charge of a correctional facility altogether, right? And this is an interesting fact for us to know, that Bihar is the only state in the country that continues to have an IAS officer heading the prison department as the IG of prisons and correctional services. Apart from Bihar, all other states have diluted this principle. They have moved on towards the appointment of police officers only as members of the superintendents of prison facilities, because of the logic that was given by them and that we have just discussed. And two prison reform committees, one was the Justice Mullah Committee on Prison Reforms Report in 1983, and the other was Justice Krishna Iyer Committee on Women Prisoners Report 1987. Both of them had recommended the creation of an all India prison services in line with the all India civil services, or in line with the all India services. Why? Because this would help in bringing in capable personnel, and it will also give us an option to choose from the plethora of people who would be available for this job, right? So what are the steps that can be taken to curb this problem, or to ensure that no such activities that are detrimental to the very principle of separation of powers takes place? One, you can appoint social workers and counselors. You can conduct regular training in human rights and social reintegration for staffs, and you must, steps should be taken to fill in the vacancies. So currently 30 to 40% of the seats lie vacant in correctional services, and there is also a need to create sufficient scope for the upward mobility for prison workers. So enough incentives must also be created to lure people towards these jobs, because if there is insufficient upward mobility, if people don't think that yes, there are lucrative opportunities in this sector as well, they would definitely not be attracted towards this job, right? So this is also another major step that needs to be taken in order to ensure that we have sufficient man force, we have adequate trained and talented people who have been equipped for this very purpose. With this, let's move on to our next article, Swachh Bharat Mission and Gender Equality. Now, why is this in news? This is because the Swachh Bharat Gramin P1 guidelines of 2017 had stated that requirements and sensitivities related to gender are to be taken into account at all stages of the sanitation program. And this mission is in line with the Sustainable Development Goal, precisely point 2 of Sustainable Development Goal 6, that seeks to achieve access to adequate and equitable sanitation and hygiene for all by the year 2030. Now, what are the relevant features when we talk about the Swachh Bharat mission? The first relevant feature would be the basic tenets of its implementation only, which involves planning, procurement, proper infrastructure creation, and its regular monitoring. This also helps in strengthening the role of women. Now, how does Swachh Bharat Gramin mission or the Swachh Bharat mission actually help in strengthening the role of women? Because it has recommended the reservation of 50% of the seat in village water and sanitation committees. Now, how can this help in strengthening their role? Because see, earlier there was a practice that even though the seats were reserved for women, their husbands would be the real heads. They would be the ones in charge. But with the different drives that have been initiated by the government, with the different steps that have been taken to empower women in this regard, we have seen women taking a charge in this area as well. So by strengthening and by recommending 50% of reservation, that is half the reservation, half the number of seats in the village water and sanitation committees, the role of women can be strengthened in these committees. What are the other steps that are also needed in this regard? We need to ensure the survival and protection of the girl child. Now, how can this be done? This can be done through proper education and the availability of proper and adequate health facilities, right, for their development and all round, you can say, for their development and benefit. Then to establish a national monitoring and evaluation system that tracks and measures the gender outcomes in SBM. So the mere recommendation, the mere reservation of 50% of seats is not enough. We need proper guidelines in place. We need proper regulatory mechanisms in place to check that it is actually, implemented in letter and spirit as well. Otherwise, this would just be dead These would just be dead letters. Until and unless we have a proper mechanism, a proper regulatory body in place, we will not be sure whether this is actually implemented or not. So from this point in view, the establishment of a national monitoring and evaluation system becomes mandatory, or rather very important. Then continuous focus on behavior change in gender. Then we have effective communications and training programs. Why? To build the capacity of stakeholders. Another very important point to ensure that gender equality is actually implemented in letter and spirit from the rural level itself, and to engage non-state actors such as Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, UNICEF, and NGOs. Now, we all know the importance of this foundation of Bill Gates and his wife Melinda Gates, right? In its contribution, the contribution of this foundation towards towards the other organizations that help in facilitating gender equality and other social problems is significant, right? We know the importance of these organizations. So that is why it is important to engage with non-state actors as well to ensure that gender equality can actually be implemented in both letter and spirit. With this, let's have a look at our news in flash column. The first one is 26th Conference on Parties. So the Conference of Parties to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change will be convened this year, when? In November 2021 at Glasgow. So initially it was supposed to take place last year, but like the other conferences that were scheduled to take place in 2020, this had also been postponed. This had also been postponed because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, what is the significance of this conference? It would be the first occasion after the Paris Climate Agreement that was concluded in 2015, wherein the countries would be expected to ratchet up or to, increase their nationally determined commitments. You can see the targets that were set in the Paris Agreement for different countries. For India, the emission intensity of GDP was 30 to 35, must be 30 to 35% below the 2005 levels by 2030, and the power capacity should be 40% of the non-fossil fuel from non-fossil fuel based sources, right? And these were for China, US, and EU. You can have a look at them. The next one that we had to deal with in our news in flash column was the Similipal forest fire. So this fire had started in the Biosphere Reserve area of Similipal forest when? In February 2021, but now it has been brought under control. And where is this park? Where is this Biosphere Reserve actually? So it is a national park and a tiger reserve in the northern part of Odisha's Mayurbhanj district. Now, this can be an important question from the prelims point of view, that where is this Biosphere Reserve actually located? So it is located in the northern part of Odisha's Mayurbhanj district. And what is it home to? So it includes 94 species of orchids and 3,000 species of other plants. So with this, we are done with our discussion for today. If you wish to download the slides of today's discussion, you can join our Telegram group, the link to which is available in the description box below. So I hope it was a good session for you all. Thank you for watching.